is a big part. Okay, so we got marketing in the back of our heads. It's very important that it's going to play into what we do with our name. So, but before that, you have to do a red dot, and I've got a red marker, so I'm going to do a dot in red. Okay, so you got this red dot. Okay, and that's the focus. Now, if you want to be successful in marketing and get the word out, right, and make a difference in other besides marketing implementation, make sure that it's what you're providing, what service you're giving, what it is that you're building is meeting the needs of your members and that type of thing. It's all part of the dot, the focus, okay? And so we realized, well, the focus, there's lots of different things here. Obviously, there's leadership education, right? Well, we're just gonna, and I'm gonna call it LE now because we're gonna be saying it a lot, so I'll just do that. So we have leadership education, and then we have the next part, which is we have homeschooling, right? So we have homeschooling and leadership education are two major things that we really wanna focus in on. And so we thought, and then we listed a whole bunch of other things actually, and I'm not gonna go into the details. And so we thought to ourselves, because, well, just basically you can say leadership education where? Well, there's in homeschooling. There's also, you can go into businesses. You can go into schools, like public schools. You could do college, people that are even going to college right now. These could be students. They could be teachers. See how you can do tons of different ways with this. So we saw homeschooling, and what we did is our base, 95% of our base was here. Okay, they weren't there. Okay, the current marketing, which a lot of it was word of mouth, but they had some other sources. ASLAF was doing, was all around this one. Like if you were to say, what's ASLAF? You go to their website. It's all about homeschooling. Where there are links that they have some outside links. They're in homeschooling directories. Word of mouth is with other homeschool moms and dads and type of things. So more or less what we decided to do is let's call a spade and hit hard homeschooling with leadership education. Have that be the center. So that became, and the thing is, you might say, well, what about all this stuff? I feel passionate, and so do we. And all of these things better have a better chance of getting to when we can narrow in and focus on the dot, okay? And so in so doing, when we do homeschooling, there's a whole bunch of other benefits behind it. But when I'm going to do something over here. So if you have homeschooling, right? And I'm going to write it out this time. So you have homeschool. If you focus here, what it does is it acts as an introduction, okay? And that is really huge. Think about yourself, and when did you first hear about leadership education? Was it because you're in a business and thought I need something to help train my employees better? Were you going to school yourself, college? Were you a public school teacher? Most likely, it was because you needed something for your kids. You felt mission-driven for my kids. And then all of a sudden, you came to learn about homeschool, and you were all focused in on them, right? You wanted something for them. And then you learn about this. You come in with homeschooling in mind. Then all of a sudden, you're introduced to leadership education. What do you realize? It's you, okay? And then all of a sudden, it starts going back over here, and you're like, oh, I could do this for my employees. Oh, man, I've got... I've got this college class I'd like to finish, but now I can really finish my degree, but I'm going to do it using these principles now, and so I can make an impact there, and all of a sudden the community starts expanding. Now, so we have a choice. We could start as a team that really market it well. We could go here, and it's very difficult to do because it's very broad, and we'd have to have a lot of manpower, a lot of resources, and it's not wise practice anyway for one organization to do the whole shebang. So we thought, let's narrow in on this. There's also another reason. I'm going to come over here. Follow me. New pen. I'm loving all these pens. Great time. We should probably rent this out. It's probably membership of FIP. You can come play on the whiteboard. So you have, so we have all of that, right? So one of the other benefits is we have people on the mighty Google, right? Okay, so they're learning about, so we have all these people, right, on Google. Leadership education, if you want to go do some keyword research, that's not getting searched a lot, right? People don't understand it. The word LIBOR, Go see, because I've already done this. People aren't searching for LIBOR, okay? What do you think they're searching for? Okay, they're searching for homeschool textbooks is like one of the most popular ones. Just I've done research on it. Homeschooling resources. We got homeschooling. Actually, Arizona homeschooling. Let's see, networks and groups and just like activities, and all of a sudden you start seeing a lot of interest. There's a whole lot of interest around homeschooling. So what this does, it allows us to open up and get a whole bunch of more people that we never possibly could, and then bring them back over here and say, it's about you, not necessarily about them. And you know what though, HIP is actually, we're still going to talk about them, give you tips on how you move kids through the phases and how that works, how that tastes like. But we all know it's you, not them. That's the most powerful principle of Thomas Jefferson education. And so that was what led us to. Now, when it became the actual name, we threw out a couple. Because we basically said, okay, we want homeschool in the name. Okay, so we want to be able to have homeschool. Wow, this is messy. Okay, we want to have that. We really want to have leadership education. Not necessarily LIBOR, because that's people have a hard time with that word. I know what it means. A lot of people you do love the word, but it was just kind of harder for people to grasp onto. And so what are some other ones that we came up with? Those were kind of the main ones, and we just went back and forth. Well, why we did HIP is because it allows for, we're homeschooling. Where am I to write this one? I'm going to have to erase. So, so what we did with homeschool, or with HIP, I mean, so we have HIP, which means homeschool, right? So we moved it right in. I was homeschool, that's why I keep missing the C. Spelling wasn't my thing. So the next one was with intention, right? And then what was the last one? Is purpose, okay? So that is leadership. That symbolizes leadership education. Now, when people come into, when they first see the site, I mean, this is a marketing spread. When they first see it, they're obviously seeing homeschool. And they're like, oh, this is exactly what I need. Oh, I'm seeing more things. I'm liking more things. I'm excited about more things. Leadership education is cool. People that love leadership education, they're already down with it too, because we have leadership education plastered all over the site. So if they're down with that, we don't need to go out of our way to get them. So again, we had basically two options to here. We know there's a lot of people there, and we know that people that are here that are leadership minded already are going to come in as well, because we're going to plaster this all over what we do in our marketing. And I hope that makes sense. And so now for you that it's a current base, this is like a shock, because you're like, I'm not homeschooling right now, or I want leadership education to go everywhere. And so what we do is basically, again, we had a choice. We went with this because this is where our base is, and we feel it can make a stronger impact, and we can get thousands of people to come because we have a large group of people that we can introduce to. So that was long. I didn't expect that to go that long. But so if it makes sense of this, great. If not, then talk to me in person, and I'll give it to you more. So this has been McKay Earl. Thanks for watching.